Republicans are racing to pass President Donald Trump's big tax and immigration bill this morning. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn, in for Hannah Jewell. It's Thursday, July 3rd. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Republicans are racing to pass the big tax and immigration bill today. It was another long and busy night on Capitol Hill. And after clearing a procedural hurdle early this morning, Republicans are confident they have enough votes to pass President Trump's signature piece of legislation. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke to reporters about the bill yesterday.
We feel very good about where we are, and we're moving forward. So we're going to deliver the big, beautiful bill, the President's America First agenda, and we're going to do right by the American people. This is going to be a great thing for the country.
What's in the bill? New and extended tax breaks, more immigration enforcements, cuts to social safety net programs, and much more. We link to a more detailed breakdown in our newsletter. Find that in our show notes. And this is a developing story, so keep an eye on our website for the latest.
Today's a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system.
Sean Diddy Combs was partially acquitted after an 8-week trial. That's our second story. The jury in Manhattan federal court found him guilty of 2 prostitution-related charges, but acquitted him of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. But Combs isn't completely in the clear. He could face at least a few years in prison on the prostitution-related charges for transporting former girlfriends and male escorts across state lines. Following the verdict on Wednesday, Judge Arun Subramanian refused Combs' request to leave jail on $1 million bail while he awaits sentencing. Sentencing is set for October 6th, but the judge could move it up. At number 3, a federal judge barred the Trump administration from expelling asylum seekers. The ruling is a blow to the administration's efforts to curtail crossings at the U.S. southern border. In a 128-page decision, U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss invalidated a proclamation that President Trump signed on his first day in office. It invoked emergency presidential powers to deport migrants without allowing them to apply for asylum. Migrants and advocacy groups sued in February, saying federal law allows people to apply for humanitarian protection, no matter how they enter the U.S. Moss stayed his ruling for 14 days, pending a likely appeal from the Trump administration. But he wrote that the executive branch cannot create an alternative immigration system that tramples on existing federal law. Number 4. The U.S. labor market is expected to have slowed again last month. The government will release its June jobs report this morning, and it's expected to show a drop from the previous month. Businesses have been adding jobs at a slower pace this year compared to last year, and economists say the job market is in an increasingly delicate position, although most employers are in wait-and-see mode. But Trump administration policies such as tariffs and spending cuts haven't had a huge effect. The unemployment rate is expected to tick up to 4.3%. That would be the highest since October 2021, when the economy was recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Our fifth story. Monte Foods has filed for bankruptcy. The California-based company, founded in 1886, sells canned vegetables and fruits. It has other brands, such as Contadina tomatoes, in its portfolio. The company, which employs about 2,780 people, owes more than $1.23 billion. In court documents, it noted challenges brought by the coronavirus pandemic and higher interest rates. Del Monte had ramped up production to meet high demand during the pandemic, but it was left with surplus inventory when consumer spending declined after the pandemic subsided. Scientists have sequenced a complete DNA set from an ancient Egyptian man. That's number 6. First of all, who is this guy? 20% of his ancestry showed relations to people in Mesopotamia, an area around modern-day Iraq. It's evidence that the two complex societies of that era intermingled. The analysis, published yesterday in Nature, showed the remains belonged to a potentially well-regarded pottery worker, one who may have lived into his 60s. With DNA analysis that has until now been limited, the study reveals clues about people's movements around that time. This is the oldest Egyptian DNA sequence ever studied, dating to when the pyramids were built. And it's a chance to learn about non-royalty. This wasn't a prince or a pharaoh, but a laborer. Number 7. Beachgoers in Portugal were treated to a spectacular cloud formation. Here's what they saw. It's called a roll cloud. A massive, dark, tsunami-like cloud filled the sky across parts of Portugal's northern and central coast. Beachgoers scrambled to film the sight, or stood along the shoreline admiring the towering clouds. Roll clouds form when cold, moist air moves inland at a shallow height and meets warm, dry air. This occurs when there isn't enough moisture to trigger rain or thunderstorms. Roll clouds can stretch hundreds of miles long, and it's common for them to appear and disappear very quickly. Roll clouds are expected to become more frequent and extreme with climate change. Scientists explain that with warmer temperatures, the right conditions to form a roll cloud will get more frequent. But scientists also say these clouds are not particularly worrying or surprising. You're going to want to see this thing, so check out our newsletter. We've got a video there. Find the link in our show notes. That's the show for this week. The podcast will be off tomorrow for July 4th. But you will still be able to read the 7 newsletter. And one important heads up. When the show is off, you have the option of listening to the newsletter, but the experience is different. Almost every Washington Post article has a listening option with a computer-generated voice. And we'll be back as usual on Monday. For your holiday listen, I'm excited to share with you some new work I did. It's an episode of Try This that digs into understanding our gut microbiome. More on that tomorrow. The associate producer of The 7 is Taylor White. The staff writers are Jamie Ross and Hannah Jewell. John Taylor is our editor. Special thanks to Chia Tanaka for pronunciation help this week. Extra editing help from Claire Wallace. Copy editing by Melissa No and Kenderdine and Thomas Haliba. Mixing and sound design is by Jim Briggs and Justin Garish. Our theme music is by Edith Mudge. Renita Jablonski is our director of audio. I'm Christina Quinn. Thanks for listening and have a great long weekend. We'll meet you back here on Monday.